Tonight, we'll dig into waste at the Pentagon and the challenges General Mattis would face in trying to rein it in.
It's almost embarrassing. Well, it is embarrassing that the Pentagon cannot even conduct an audit. They don't know where the money is.
We'll show how USF shuttered a think tank after our investigation. And Evan Axelbank explains how the economy is changing and what it means for Tampa Bay. Plus, Charlie Belcher has our viewer mailbag, and we have a special announcement with Charlie LaDuff.
You're an animal.
Dude! Love you, man. You're the best show on TV. That's a trip.
Charlie. This is Money, Power, and Politics.
Now, we've had some fascinating political theater this week because it shows how voters sometimes choose their next leader based on what they can see lacking in their current leader.
Yeah, we saw that on full display this week. President-elect Trump is a master of optics, while Obama admits he is not.
I should have anticipated the optics. That's part of the job, and it's serious business, and you care about it deeply. But part of this job is also the theater of it. Part of it is, how are you?
You hate
how are you? Well, it's not something that that always comes naturally to me, but it matters, and I'm mindful of that.
Yeah, think about it. The auto bailout saved 1.5 million jobs, and President Obama did not crow about that nearly as much as you might think.
Yeah, now compare that to the carrier deal that saved around 1,000 jobs, and here's Trump's reaction on that.
Companies are not going to leave the United States anymore without consequences.
He is truly draining the swamp, as he says. I think it's impressive that he's already doing stuff.
When Donald Trump was running for president, he said that if he was elected president of the United States, America would start winning again. Well, today America won. And we have Donald Trump to thank.
Yes, a striking contrast it clearly is this week as Trump takes a victory lap literally and fills out his cabinet.
We could see some big changes at the Pentagon.
Yeah, we surely could. You have General Mattis, who will take over the Department of Defense, assuming that he gets a waiver and gets confirmed on this. And he would step into a very tough position because, among other things, we've investigated billions of wasted tax dollars at the Pentagon, and we found some big calculations in military accounting.
The Pentagon studied its spending, then ordered a study of its study, which Congress then studied and ordered a GAO study, which determined that the chain of studies on studies wasted our money. Meanwhile, the Pentagon in recent years has admitted to losing track of trillions of tax dollars.
It's almost embarrassing. Well, it is embarrassing that the Pentagon cannot even conduct an audit. They don't know where the money is.
2 years ago, the Marine Corps celebrated a rare feat in defense spending.
Today we are here to celebrate some important progress.
Top officials said the Corps accounted for every dollar it received and spent, and former Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel celebrated in the Hall of Heroes.
I know that it might seem a bit unusual to be in the Hall of the Heroes to honor a bookkeeping accomplishment. But damn, this is an accomplishment, and
But after that celebration, this memo shows the Department of Defense withdrew its budget report because the numbers were unreliable. After that Hall of Heroes celebration, the GAO found the Marines could not account for $800 million. The GAO blamed insufficient procedures and said it goes far beyond the Marines. And it comes after other memos showing the Pentagon spent $15 billion to buy a new accounting system. And it highlights a problem that some members of Congress have been complaining about for years.
I asked him, do you know who is responsible for the $2.4 billion cost overrun of the USS Gerald R. Ford? And you know what his answer was? I don't know.
So you see the frustrations over Pentagon spending have been going on for quite some time. And the knock on General Mattis is that he lacks the experience to lead a department, Marissa, that big.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi could be heading to Washington. She met with President-elect Trump again on Friday. She will not be Attorney General or White House counsel because those appointments have already been filled. Bondi is focused on the issue of drug abuse, so she's drawing speculation that Trump could pick Bondi to be our nation's drug czar.
Now, it is time, Marissa, for a special announcement, and why don't you do it?
Well, sadly, our contributor, Charlie LaDuff, he is moving on.
Yeah, he's been a regular on our show from the very start here. He made us laugh, he'd make us cry, make us angry sometimes. I could go on and on.
But one thing he did do was he held officials accountable and told stories in a way that only he can do.
He also liked to pop in on our set from time to time, and I hope he still will, maybe a time or two yet to come. Here's a tribute to Charlie, a look down memory lane.
On the outskirts of Tampa, right off MLK Boulevard, you're greeted by the world's largest Confederate flag. You're reminded this is still the Deep South, and some things die hard.
We feel in Florida threatened.
The white Southern man's on the run in Florida?
Easy peasy squeezy.
This place blew my mind. 50,000 senior citizens living behind the gates. A Viagra Valhalla. They vote conservative here, but every night is like Woodstock.
Want to know why your taxes are sky high? The roads are collapsing and you can't get a car? Because your government stinks. Well, it's budget season in Wayne County again, and Bob Picano's really laid an egg this time.
So now you'll have a tax base that will start to come in and probably start to help.
For sure, but we could have saved $300 million and done that in the first place.
Charlie? I have no idea. You don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. How could you not know with money flying around everywhere?
Pitch us. Are you the worst politician in America?
Dude. The broccoli's brown. Are we really saving money, Bob?
Hot dog. Yep, that's me. Yeah, no shame in my game.
I see.
I ain't talking to nobody else's wife. Shoot.
Tastefully cropped, I might add.
Well, thank you. Thank you. See? You can almost get that here and now.
Dude! That's perfect. What was that?
Say that's a good ass use for that house, because they won't tear them down. They won't do nothing. They won't cut the grass. We cut it, so that's all play golf.
That's a trip.
Charlie.
The plant, a perch, and a prophylactic.
Dude, that's a trip. What did I just see?
Pretty much says it all, doesn't it?
I've always been different with 1 foot over the line. Winding up somewhere with 1 step.
You're an animal.
All right.
Do that, Eisen. Go blue.
Remember me?
You're right there.
Yeah, how's your hair doing?
It's okay.
Is that power hooked up legit there?
My power is...
That's not legit.
It's not legit.
No, you stealing a little bit of power.
I am blessed.
Dude, that was the weirdest trip.
That was kind of weird.
Would you have your grandchildren bathe daily in that water coming out of those pipes now?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah, because again, that's the advice I've gotten.
Cracker?
Huh?
Cracker.
What do you mean, cracker?
You want a cracker?
Oh, no, thank you.
Love you, man. You're the best show on TV.
Thank you.
A bald spot?
No.
Okay, man, talk to you. I thought I got sunburned. It's real nice down here.
Charlie, you are one of a kind. Thank you for the laughs, and you will be missed.
Yeah, it surely will. Coming up, our other Charlie is back in our mailroom. He's not going anywhere. Plus, we have some more investigations and a closer look at the economy and job market in Tampa Bay. So every weekend we turn this part of our show over to all of you.
Yeah, so let's send it over to Charlie Belcher in our mailroom.
Hello there, Money Power Politics audience. Charlie Belcher here in the Money Power Politics mailroom. Post-Thanksgiving. Hope you all had a very nice Thanksgiving and hope you're having a wonderful beginning to the holiday season. Shall we get to the mail? Yes, we shall. Letter number 1 comes from Lovely Day. Is that your real name, Lovely Day? If so, it's lovely. It's a lovely first name. Lovely Day says, Craig, wish more folks watch Money, Power, and Politics. This guy, Craig, is pretty cool. Yeah, lovely. He is. He's lovely. No mention of me in the email, but that's all right. All right. Our next email says, Craig, utterly disappointed at the poor coverage, including analysis of the Castro death and its effect on Tampa. Congresswoman Castor, who leads the pro-Cuba effort, has completely ignored the local exile community and not even dignified their pain with a statement. Evelio, thank you for the email. I will tell you, if you go onto YouTube and look up episode 122, that's 122 on YouTube, that is the Money, Power, Politics episode where Craig talked a lot about the death of Castro and its ramifications. So you might want to check that out. We also did a little research here in the Money, Power, Politics mailroom. My staff, which was me, did a little research and did come up with this statement that Representative Kathy Castor did release. It says, in part, Fidel Castro's death should encourage all of us to meet the challenge of better diplomatic relations, economic opportunities for Cubans and Americans, expanded travel, and support for the dignity of the Cuban people. Now, Avilio, that's probably not what you wanted to hear there from Kathy Castor. One thing for sure, even though Castro is dead, the debate on how to move forward is still alive and well. All right, our next email says, "Hi, Craig. Can you please put all the chapters of the mockumentary into a single YouTube video? Thank you, Leroy." That is a good request, Leroy. You know what? We'll do it. We'll do it just for you. You hear that, Craig? You need to put all those on YouTube for Leroy. Thanks, Leroy. All right, our next email says, "Craig, thanks for keeping it real and not bowing with the hashtag MSM. Signed, Susie." I'll be honest, Susie. I had to go find Craig and ask him what hashtag MSM means. And now I know. It means mainstream media. You're welcome. All right, the next email says, "Craig, only 2 comments on your Thanksgiving segment. I think Charlie outdid himself keeping the peace." Signed, Marilyn. Marilyn, I thought you said you had 2 comments, but I do like that first one. All right, next email. "Craig, applesauce. Poor Charlie in between your arguments. I loved it. Diane." Thanks, Diane. I'm always trying to keep the peace. All right, next email says, "Craig, congrats on the wonderful coverage. The best I saw." Signed, Cheryl. And finally, this is from one of our favorites, Sherry. She loves to email us some interesting emails and ponder some wonderful questions and sometimes make some interesting statements. Let's see what Sherry has to say today. "Craig, I love you guys. When you have fun, I have fun. Thank you, Sherry." Sherry, thank you. We'll keep having fun. And you keep sending us those emails. Remember, the email address is mppmailbag@yahoo.com. That's mppmailbag@yahoo.com. Keep sending them, and somehow they magically appear down here where I read them back to you. Back to you, Craig.
All right, well, thank you very much, Charlie. Coming up, our investigation of spending at a USF think tank drives change. USF reacted by shutting down its global initiative. That story after the break.
Well, our investigative reporter Tina Jensen uncovered some problems with the USF think tank.
And the University of South Florida responded by shutting it down. Here's a look back at what Tina found that drove change.
USF stakes its reputation on being a global research university.
Wow.
That's USF President Judy Genshaft last year at her annual fall address.
$440 million.
That's when she announces the university's accomplishments, measured in research dollars. What the audience didn't know was that one of the university's research centers, called the Global Initiative, had been flagged by an internal report just a few weeks earlier for not having financial transparency and not spending and tracking grant funds appropriately. It also says the director didn't understand university financial policies and would continue to make poor decisions without training and accountability. The Global Initiative started in 2011. According to USF, It's spent more than $4 million in public money since then.
Welcome to USF Global Citizens Forum. I'm here with David Jacobson. David is the founding director of the Global Initiative on Civil Society and Conflict.
The Global Initiative's webpage looks impressive. It takes you right to a picture of an employee with UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and another with President Barack Obama. Another page shows lots of team members. Their brochure looks impressive too. It shows a photo labeled Student Interns. But what is the Global Initiative exactly? Here's how Director David Jacobson explains what they do in a USF YouTube video.
And one is looking at global conflict and the ways we can address it.
Then there's another part of the Global Initiative called the Global Citizens Forum. And as you'll hear in this clip, his description is still vague.
And to get into the field, not in terms of looking at the violence so much or conflict, but looking at how citizens, both ordinary and extraordinary, operate.
We'd like to try and explain that a little more, but public records obtained by Fox 13 show that even the USF employees that work there weren't really clear on what they do. The internal report showed there was no clearly defined vision or mission, and that they had no measurable goals or objectives. Let's take a closer look on their website. If you click to read more about how a staffer ended up meeting President Obama, there's nothing more to read. And this photo? The Global Initiative staffer is holding something dated 2004, before Ban Ki-moon was UN Secretary General and before there was a USF Global Initiative. As for the photo in the Global Initiative brochure labeled Student Interns, the exact same photo is on a USF webpage showing paid academic advisors. The Global Initiative is part of the College of Arts and Sciences. We tried to visit the think tank over the summer to find out more and found moving boxes and some empty-looking offices. In August, we tried to visit the think tank to find out more and found moving boxes and some empty-looking offices. We made a return visit and discovered those offices are no longer empty and no longer used by the Global Initiative. The Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Eric Eisenberg, told us the think tank was between projects. A USF spokesperson who sat in on the phone call with him said she'd send over a list of recent accomplishments. That list shows the Global Initiative held a conference in 2014 and that Director David Jacobson co-authored some research. It also says Global Initiative has partnerships with institutions around the globe. I reached out to all 8 of them to confirm and heard back from 2. One of them said the partnership was an idea, but nothing materialized. The other said they had never even heard of the Global Initiative. That raised more questions.
We wanted to know how the think tank spent more than $2 million of federal grant money, but USF said they couldn't release those details. But that's not the only way the think tank has been spending public money.
Last year, just as that internal report was finding that no one keeps office hours, including the director, Dean Eisenberg sent David Jacobson a memo, congratulating him and renewing his appointment as director of the Global Initiative for another 3 years. In the phone interview, Eisenberg said this about Jacobson. From my perspective, he's doing exactly what I want him to do. But neither Eisenberg nor the university president would go on camera to answer why the think tank director's salary and benefits package is worth nearly $250,000 taxpayer dollars a year.
Now, USF announced it was shutting down the initiative 1 week after Tina's first report.
Meanwhile, the head of the think tank also lost his $20,000 stipend. The 2 remaining staffers are still at the university. Meanwhile, USF has not said specifically how that research money was spent. Okay, coming up, we'll examine the new job numbers and explain what they mean for Tampa Bay. We now have the lowest unemployment rate in nearly a decade.
Yeah, the housing market has recovered from the Great Recession, and Evan Axelbank shows us how it's playing out here in Tampa Bay.
The people who opened DATS in South Tampa once had a hard time imagining lunch hours like this.
We woke up one day and we said, oh man, like this is really bad, because when people's disposable income goes down, I mean, they pull back on restaurants and entertainment.
They opened in January of 2009, just after the housing and financial crashes. Unemployment was headed to 10%. Wage growth was down by half.
We were scared.
It's going to have celery seed vinaigrette on the side.
7 years on, they've doubled workers from 75 to 150 and plan to open a new location in St. Pete.
On the weekends, we're going on 2- and 3-hour waits, which is unheard of because people are in a mood to come out now.
Their story largely mirrors America's, or at least the numbers. In 2009, the economy shrank by 2.5%. Today, it's growing by 3.2%. GDP went from 14 trillion to 18 trillion. Unemployment is down from 10% to 4.6%.
And with this, please check out our YouTube channel for full investigations of the economy, money, and politics as well. Craig Patrick's Money, Power, and Politics. Click subscribe. Marissa, you get the last 5 seconds.
I guess we'll just say goodnight with that.
Okay.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks. Take care.